Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we have the Hollywood Rack's Destination 4 bike platform rack. We're going to be taking a look at how it fits on the Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport. The Destination 4 is one of my favorite bike racks to recommend for someone just getting into the bike rack world and they need to carry around a lot of bikes. Especially if you have bikes of different shapes and sizes, this is going to be great for versatility. Plus, as a rack, it's really lightweight. So if you have your Atlas Cross Sport loaded up with your friends and family and you all want to go for a bike ride, this is going to be a great way to start. Now, it is at an entry-level price point. Yes, it has a lot of awesome features, but you are missing out on some more premium features like being able to tilt this rack away, as well as having a greater weight capacity. Maximum bike weight is going to be 35 pounds per bike on this rack. So let's talk about the bike. We have one bike loaded up here. We have it mounted down at 3 touch points. 1 and 2 are going to be our wheel straps. The third is our frame mount. I personally really like how this secures the bike by the frame. We have the short mast here, meaning it doesn't stick too far up. Plus, this can rotate 360 degrees. So you can go up, down, left, right, and even around for those frames of different shapes and sizes. Now, you do have to be mindful here. If you have like a step-through frame, fortunately, you don't need a frame adapter bar with this type of a mount. Let's take our bike off and we start over at the wheel straps though. So you press the lever, you lift the strap up, and you pivot it around so it's not in the way of the spokes. Compared to other more premium racks, this is going to take a little bit of extra time and effort, especially for 4 bikes. But that's just something that can get faster with practice and with carrying the same types of bikes. Now for this third touch point, you do have to get a little creative with here. I like to hold onto the bike with my elbow, and that way I can leave my hands free to maneuver these straps. And once they're free, we're then going to pivot the bike on over so it can go over the mast. I really like how the Cross Sport is angled here. So even though it sits close to the vehicle, I'm not concerned about our handlebars just because of that incline there. So that's going to work out really well for your mountain bikes. Now we can grab our bike, lift off, and hit the trails. Let's talk about those cradles. They're a little different in design compared to your regular cradle. I like to call them the wings of this bike rack just because of how they're shaped. And that's there for those different wheelbases. Depending on your wheelbase, you can pivot these straps back and forth to get the best fit. I like to just put these back in so they're not flopping around as you drive around. We're also going to move this mast down. It's a little bit of a process, so bear with me. We're going to rotate this knob so that we can lift this anchor point out, and then we can pivot this down. So you have the option of either using that wheel strap or a frame mount strap to secure in this position. Again, more movement and touch points compared to more premium rack. So that can be a downside for some people. I am totally fine with it just because those features are there for function, but that is up to you. Now, it looks like it does take up a lot of space, but in all honesty, compared to a lot of other 4-bike platform racks, it's actually very compact. So measuring from our bumper to the end of our bike rack here, that's 37 inches. That will help you figure out if this will fit in your garage or parking in a tight spot. Another measurement is ground clearance. End of the rack to the ground, 18.25 inches. Center of the rack to the ground, 22.5 inches. So there is a shank rise, so it sits higher up off the ground. When you have something that sits a little bit further, you want it to have that rise. So when you go up inclines like hills or driveways, you're not as concerned about bottoming out. You also have the option of, when the bikes are off, removing this bolt. There's a clip there on the side too, and then folding the rack up. This is going to be your compact or your portable position. This is something you're going to have it in when you're not planning on going out for a bike ride just yet, but you also don't want to take your bike rack off. Or if you do want to take your bike rack off, this is how you would store it in your garage. Tightening this back down Something I noticed with the Cross Sport is a lot of the racks come close when folded up, but in our case here, as long as we make sure that our straps are fully secured, then we're gonna have zero contact with our vehicle. So let's take some measurements from the bumper to the end of the rack that now sits at 10 inches. Let's tighten this one down. There we go. Looks much better there. Now that's going to be a big difference compared to when this was folded down. With it folded up like this, notice how it does cover a little bit of your taillights, but those are still going to be visible, especially on the side. It does cover up our license plate, and our backup camera sits right here in this opening. What's going to happen is that when you go into reverse, you're definitely going to see this bike rack in your rear view. But because it has that open design, you'll be able to see kind of through the bike rack if there's any people or vehicles behind you. It's not going to be 100% visibility though. If that's a major issue, then you can just drive around with this in a down position, just accepting that it does take up a lot of space. All right, with all that being said, if you want to carry around a lot of bikes without a heavy rack or taking up a lot of space behind your vehicle, the Hollywood Rack's Destination 4 is the way to go. The downside to it is it doesn't have as much of a weight capacity for those extra heavy electric bikes. I would then recommend something extremely heavy duty like the Ceres MHS with the add-ons, because then you have that full tray style with a dual wheel mount to make it much faster to load your bikes, and you have more weight capacity. The big downside to that is it's heavy, it's bulky, and it's going to be at a much more premium price versus this, which is a great way to enter the game. This right here was a look at the Hollywood Rack's Destination 4, and you saw it on the 2024 Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport.
Now we're going to go ahead and take it on our test course. First we'll start with the slaloms. This is going to show the side-to-side action. It's kind of going to mimic the movements that you'll see whenever you're driving down the road normally. Now we'll have the alternating speed bumps. This is going to be more so like the uneven roads and some of that uneven terrain you might be traveling on, and see how it holds up.